Uh,
Okay. Perfect.
Hello and good evening, everyone. I am Mohammed Khalid, host for today's session. I welcome you all to another intriguing webinar organized by the IEEE India Council Student Coordination Team under the visionary leadership of the IEEE India Council Executive Committee. We are glad to see you all here. And today, as you are aware, we have a chartered accountant in the house. Well, to begin, he is a practicing chartered accountant based out of Ahmedabad, Gujarat. His expertise includes GST consulting, startup consultation, and mentorship, business structuring, and project financing. He also has a social media platform called The Professional Talk for sharing knowledge related to finance and taxation. He is known to be very active in startup forums and has won several awards for his startup ideas. He is also an upcoming author and a visiting faculty in various universities and organizations. Today, he will be enlightening us on managing finance in our 20s. Now, with much enthusiasm and high spirits, I invite Mr. Shubham Malu to take over the session.
Thank you so much, Khalid, for such a wonderful introduction. And good evening, everybody. Hope you all are doing absolutely fine. As you know, that my name is Shubham and I'm practicing CA based out of Ahmedabad, Gujarat. Today's topic of discussion is managing finance in your 20s. And the 20s is the time where you need to take the major decisions of your life, like how your career would be in future. Just a second, Khalid, can you just remove me as a co-host because I am getting a lot of notification of aiding the person.
Yeah, sure. Hushi, can you do that? Okay, it's done, sir. You can continue.
Perfect. So as you can see, our today's topic is how to manage finance in your 20s. So in this presentation, we will discuss on understanding the basics of finance, building a proper portfolio by use of different asset classes. And we'll also understand some financial literacy topics. So I would request each and every one of you who all are available here to be with me till the last slide, because there are some activities also, there are some surprises also, which will make your time worthwhile by attending this lecture. Also, I would request to use the chat box whenever I'll ask something or while doing any activities. Now, why this presentation is so important for you? The money decisions you make in your 20s.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I think the screen is not shared.
Okay, I'll just check it. I think by removing the co-host, the screen rights have been gone. So can you just allow me the rights?
Okay.
Yeah, I got it. Just a second.
Yes, your screen is visible now.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So what we were discussing was, this is the age, the 20s is the age, which will decide the financial prosperity and future of yours. That's why it's important to work on building healthy financial habits now so that you will benefit later. So whatever we are discussing today, you need to master these skills in your 20s, and you will be thanking yourself in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. So we'll start the presentation with a quote from Peter Lynch. Peter Lynch is American investor, mutual fund manager. He headed the Fidelity Magellan Fund from 1977 to 1990. And during that time, his mutual fund averaged a record 29% annual return, which was quite high at that point of time. and he is considered one of the greatest investor of all time. So what Peter Lynch has said, that in the long run, it's not just how much money you make that will determine your future prosperity. It's how much of that money you put to work by saving it and investing it. So today's focus will not be how to earn money, because there are various ways to earn, but to bring the financial prosperity, or you say financial freedom, I'll tell you how you can save and where you need to invest the money. And that will be more important than earning and spending the money. So let's go to next slide. So here is a small activity under which you need to identify what are the asset and what are the liabilities from these four photographs. Just to give you a brief of asset and liability, an asset is anything you own that can be worth something right now or a later date. So you can sell it and you can earn a cash flow from it. And liabilities are anything which you owe to someone or which will create a debt in your pockets. So this is a small activity. I want every one of you to comment in the chat box that what do you think is an asset and what do you think is a liability. Okay, I'm getting some answers here. All are liabilities. They are all liabilities. I'm waiting for some more answers. The watch is an asset, I think. I'll explain that point of view also. Okay, liabilities, all are liabilities. Great. All are liabilities except watch. All of them are liabilities except the watch. Okay, we'll move ahead. And the sneaker too, if they are limited editions. Good point. Car is a liability. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So let me take you deep down into the concept of asset and liabilities. So if you say in current market scenario that the Rolex watch and Nike Jordan are asset, you might be right. As Roshan said that he thinks that watch might be an asset, and this Jordan pair of shoe that can be asset. That he might be right. Also, if you are using your iPhone or car for the purpose of building a bigger business because of the exceptional features of the product, you might think them as an asset too. So there is very thin line between an asset and a consumption item in this market, in today's market. According to me, if you can invest in real luxury item, but they cannot be considered an asset because they depreciate. And anything that depreciates is a liability. Like cars, if you can afford it, it's fine to absorb this cost for the enjoyment, but do not expect a return out of it. Now, what I am trying to make a point here is that at the end of the day, these products eat your money and give you a filler that you have bought an asset, but that is not the case. Even though there is market for Rolex limited edition watch, there is market for Nike Jordan limited edition watch, but the buyers are very hard to find. There is a limited market available for that. So both point of view are right, but according to me, these all are liabilities which you need to avoid in your life. Let's go ahead and we'll start with discussing about some basics of finance. Uh, Basics of finance that should be kept in mind at all stages of your life. So we are going to discuss about inflation, compounding, capital, and risk management. Most of you might be aware about this basic concept, but we will revisit it once. So let's come to inflation. So when prices increases, the purchasing power of your money decreases. So there is about 5 to 6% on an average inflation rate each year. This means that every year money loses its value by 6%. Or to put into different terms, things start to become expensive by 6% every year. There is a very good example I have put in here. 1 liter milk cost in 1995 was only 12 rupees. But 1 liter milk cost in 2022, present day, is 60 rupees approximately. So this increase is not due to milk becoming more scarce or more expensive to make. In fact, the opposite is true. Instead, this price reflects the gradual decrease in the value of money as a result of inflation. So whenever you are investing, you should always keep in your mind that you have to get a return of more than what inflation rate is. So you have to get a motamoti return of around 6%, more than 6%. The secret of investing: compound interest. So compound interest is also called the eighth wonder of universe. If you understand this concept properly and if you implement in your daily life, then nobody can stop you from getting what we call as a financial freedom. What Albert Einstein said when asked about what is the greatest achievement of human civilization, he answered the greatest achievement of human civilization must be compound interest. And why it is there, I will explain you in the next slide with an example. This is the most important thread in the fabric of investing. Now, what is compound interest? So I will just explain you in a simple example that compound interest is basically interest on interest. For example, if you are investing 100 rupees in an investing 100 rupees in an instrument today, for example, you are creating an FD of 100 rupees. Now at the end of the year, you will get the interest on the FD, which will be around, let's say, 5 to 6% according to current time. So the 100 rupees will become 105 rupees at the end of first year. Now, if that 105 is reinvested in the FD, then you will get interest on 105 and not 100. And that's the compounding of money. And that's the power of compounding, that after a certain period of time, you will get very high return on the money you invested. So we'll go to straightforward to next slide, and there is another activity which I want to discuss it all of you. I'll just explain the background of this activity. So there are three persons: Kabir, Chirayu, and Puneet. Now Kabir is of 20 years old, and he started investment when he was 20 years. He started with a meager 5,000 rupees per month, and he invested for 40 years. That when he became 60 years, so he invested for a total duration of 40 years. Now total amount invested, which according to 5,000 rupees per month we see is 24 lakh rupees. He was able to maintain a 10% return on his investment each year. Same way, Chirayu also invested, but he started in invested from investment from 30 years old. So when he was 30 years old, he started his investment. So he invested only for 30 years. But he invested double the amount of Kabir. So he invested 10,000 rupees per month. And same way, by seeing both Kabir and Chirayu, Puneet also began his investing, but he was 40 years at that time. So he invested only for 20 years. And he invested double the amount of Chirayu. He invested 25,000 rupees per month. So I want an answer from you guys, that at the end of 60 years, who was the person who earned the most return, even though the percentage of return on three of the guys is similar, only 10%. So please comment in the chat box that what do you think, Kabir, Chirayu, or Puneet, who earned the maximum return at the age of 60 years? Okay, I need more answers. Okay, I think all are answering Kabir. So I think everybody is aware about the compounding. So here are the total returns of three persons: Kabir, Chirayu, and Puneet. So Kabir has earned around approximately 3 crore 16 lakhs. Chirayu has earned around 2 crore 26 lakhs, and Puneet has earned only 1 crore 89. So you need to understand that it's not about the amount; it's about the time period, time duration, the compounding takes to grow your money. So Kabir only invested 5,000 rupees per month, but the time duration was 40 years. And the compounding works best in the last 10 years of the investment. So last 10 years, so he might have earned the maximum return from 50 to 60 years, when he was 50 to 60 years. So that's the power of compounding. So let's go to our next slide, which is capital. So whenever you are investing, capital retention and capital multiplication, these both are the most important aim for a person's life. The two ways to increase your capital is either do a business or either do an investment. if you can invest properly, then your capital will be high. But if you are not doing business and if you are into a job or something, you should explore other angles to increase your capital, because job will give you a steady source of income. But how will you build a lavish lifestyle if you want to, become rich? Then how will you get that money? So the best way is either do a business, either do investments. Let's move to risk management. This is the most important part of finance, because you do not have to immediately run after high returns. If someone is promising you कि भाई मैं तुमको 20% पर महीना रिटर्न दे दूंगा, आप मुझे पैसा दे दो, then that is not going to work. You have to be practical, right? Because the basics of investment is that you need to be logical कि really ये मुझे इन्वेस्टमेंट देगा या मेरा पैसा लेके भाग जाएगा, एज सिंपल एज दैट. और मार्केट में क्या रिटर्न चल रहा है, दैट यू नीड टू आइडेंटिफाई, एंड अकॉर्डिंगली यू नीड टू कंपेयर इट विथ योर इन्वेस्टमेंट, दैट वेदर आई एम अर्निंग अ प्रॉपर रिटर्न और नॉट. अदर कॉन्सेप्ट इज डाइवर्सिफिकेशन. सो डू नॉट पुट योर एग्स इन वन बास्केट, बिकॉज अगर मान लीजिए किसी एक इन्वेस्टमेंट के अंदर डाउनफॉल आया, तो ऑब्वियस ही बात है कि दूसरा इन्वेस्टमेंट अब जाने के चांसेस बढ़ जाते हैं. सो फॉर दैट रीजन यू नीड टू डाइवर्सिफाई इन्वेस्टमेंट. सारा का सारा पैसा एक ही इन्वेस्टमेंट के, एक ही फाइनेंशियल प्रोडक्ट के अंदर डाल देंगे, दैट विल बी very riskier for you. So diversify your investment. Do not invest all your money in one place. So these four are the basic concept of finance, which you need to keep in mind while we are discussing the financial products in the later slides. Before discussing the financial products, we will come to first building your protection. So we need to first understand what is an emergency fund. Why do we need emergency fund? So let's understand the logic of having a defined emergency fund. You will typically need money midway under two circumstances. या तो आप एक बार गोल कर लिया कि मुझे 10 साल बाद इतना पैसा चाहिए, लेकिन इमीडिएटली अगर आपको पैसे का जरूरत पड़ गया, तो obviously there will be some planned events or unplanned events. So unplanned events के अंदर you will need immediate requirement of the money. So there are many such unplanned emergency expenses जो हमें डेली लाइफ में आते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इट कैन बी अ लार्ज हॉस्पिटल बिल, इट कैन बी यू आर फायर्ड फ्रॉम द जॉब. अभी स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम में इतना वोलेटाइल इकोसिस्टम चल रहा है, एनीबडी इज गेटिंग फायर्ड एट एनी पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम. सो यू कैन बी फायर्ड एंड यू माइट नॉट बी हैविंग एनी इनकम. सम फ्लड सिचुएशन इज देयर, कोरोना सिचुएशन इज देयर. So there may be different unplanned events that can come into your life, and it is for such reasons that we create an emergency fund and buy insurances. So without savings, a financial shock, even minor, could set you back, and if it turns into debt, it can potentially have a lasting impact. अगर एक बार वो आप debt के cycle में फंस गए, तो उससे निकलना थोड़ा मुश्किल हो जाता है. So we'll discuss that how much do you need. एक रफ रूल ऑफ थंब अगर हम लेके चलें, तो अप्रोक्सीमेटली 6 मंथ का लिविंग कॉस्ट जो होता है, इस कॉस्ट के अंदर आपका रेंट आ गया, ईएमआई आ गया, स्कूल फीस आ गया, प्रीमियम जो भी आपका लोन वगैरह का प्रीमियम चल रहा है वो आ गया, क्रेडिट कार्ड का चार्जेस आ गया, क्लब का मेंबरशिप आ गया. सो इंक्लूड ईच एंड एवरीथिंग इन योर कॉस्ट. और जो 6 मंथ का कॉस्ट होता है, यू नीड टू हैव दैट फंड असाइड. आपको उसको कहीं पे इन्वेस्ट करके रखना है. नाउ वेयर टू कीप इट, हम कहाँ इन्वेस्ट करें? सो इमरजेंसी फंड के लिए ऐसा है कि द इजीएस्ट एंड बेस्ट अंडरस्टूड प्रोडक्ट इज फिक्स डिपॉजिट और अ फ्लेक्सी डिपॉजिट. सो फिक्स डिपॉजिट और फ्लेक्सी डिपॉजिट में रखने का सेंस ये है कि आपको कभी भी अगर एफडी तोड़वानी पड़ी इन केस ऑफ इमरजेंसी, इट वुड बी मच इजियर बिकॉज आपको सिर्फ बैंक ही जाना है. अदरवाइज पीपल हु आर फेमिलियर विद म्यूचुअल फंड्स can also can also invest in short term debt funds to build an emergency fund, but it is the most important part before starting your investment. Now a big question comes is, should I take insurance for protection or not? अभी मार्केट के अंदर काफी सारे इंश्योरेंस प्रोडक्ट्स भी अवेलेबल है. सो यू नीड टू हैव अ क्लैरिटी कि मुझे क्या लेना है, क्या नहीं लेना है. You know that only 3% of the population of India is insured with life insurance, because that's a really strange figure, or it is the most important part of your financial planning. So let's understand what are the insurances, what are the insurance products. So first come is life insurance. So when do you need the life insurance? You need a life insurance cover for only one reason: to protect your family's financial health if you die an untimely death. As simple as that. क्योंकि जब एक अनटाइमली डेथ होती है, यू हैव टू लीव लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स मिडवे. इट कुड बी अ meal, sleep, conversation, it could be a fight, it could be a joke, it could be a holiday plan. You also leave your family midway in their journey through life, both physically and financially. Now, physically, you can manage, but financially, how will you manage when you are gone? So, the expenses will hit your family if you suddenly disappear. And if there is debt, जैसे कि होम लोन हो गया, कार लोन हो गया, एजुकेशन लोन हो गया, पर्सनल लोन हो गया, then all of this will need to be paid back, right? So life insurance is very important, and specifically in life insurance there are many companies which are offering different plans, but my suggestion is only go for term plan, nothing other than term plan, because that's the plan which will help you in covering covering your properly, covering your finances properly. So basically, an average 25-year-old can buy a 35-year term plan that gives his beneficiary approximately 1 crore if he dies within those 35 years, for the price of merely 8 to 10,000 rupees yearly. So cost भी उतना नहीं है life insurance खरीदने का. So I think this you should be aware that first and foremost thing, emergency fund. Second, life insurance you should need to take. And what is the thumb rule says that if your annual take home income is, let's say, 1 lakh, then let's say 10 lakh, then your life insurance should be 1 to 1.5 cr. So it's like 10 to 15 times of your annual net take home income. When is a good time to buy life insurance? I would recommend buy as early as possible, because you get locked in for the duration of the policy from your first premium. And when you are younger, right, the premium will be the least. So if you are buying right now, the premium will be the minimum. And after adjusting for inflation in the coming years, the premium will fix. So let's say if you are paying 6 to 7,000 rupees, you need to pay 6 to 7,000 rupees till you are 65, 75, or 85. So there is no impact of inflation on the premium. So that is the best thing. After life insurance or before life insurance, you can also go for medical insurance. You should go for medical insurance. Why? Because, if you think like this, that if you have a viral fever, you go to a doctor, right? And we don't really think of the cost, because maximum वो क्या करते हैं, मेडिसिन लेंगे और अपनी कंसल्टेशन फीस लेंगे, एंड मेडिसिन जो भी है प्रिस्क्रिप्शन मेडिसिन वो आपको देंगे. दैट विल नॉट बी अ टू मच ऑफ द कॉस्ट, बिकॉज यू थिंक कि यार चलो वो बहुत हमारे बजट में आता है तो वो हो जाता है. But when you have something more serious, like a surgery for a liver infection or a heart attack or a knee replacement, so these costs are too significant. So how do you cover those costs? Because if you do not have medical cover, then financially you will be drained because of the hospital expenditures. So according to me, getting a good medical cover is probably more important than buying life insurance, because you are more likely to go to hospital with an illness or accident than die, right? The one question which comes here is, do I need cover if my office already covers me? So this is a very good question which many of the people ask me various times. So the need for personal cover comes and stands in front of you when suddenly you are faced with a change in circumstances. What circumstances? For example, after completing your job, you are retiring, right? You will be around 60, 65. So at that point of time, you will be facing with various lifestyle diseases like hypertension हो गया, diabetes हो गई. तो at that point of time, अगर आप medical insurance लेने गए, तो obviously those insurance company will not cover the pre-existing diseases, right? So you need to think today only that अगर मैं आज लेके इसको continue करूँ 60 years तक, what will be the cost? And मैं 60 years पे जाके मैं लूँगा या फिर नहीं भी लेता हूँ, then what will be the cost? Because there will be huge hospital expenses, there will be medicine expenses, there is lot of different expenses at that point of time. So you need to think about that from today only. Now, how much do I need? So basically, you need a basic cover of approximately 3 to 15 lakh per person. 3 lakh number is basically for the smaller towns which have very less posh facilities, and the 15 lakh number for metro cities, who are having high end hospitals and they charge high end bills. So for that you can take around 10 to 15 lakh. Premium is not much. It's around 3 to 4 lakhs. Medical insurance premium is around 6 to 7,000 if you are 25 or 26. So that's all about insurances. So what I have discussed is emergency fund and insurance. So both are most important before jumping onto the investment part. So let's understand investing. So I can totally understand that at the age you are standing in, you might be in your 20s and you might be getting some pocket money, or you might be earning from your hustles, doing side businesses, small or big businesses. So I understand money is never in plenty in the early years. But getting into debt to fund current spending is not the way out, right? So either find a way to raise income or spend less. There is no third option. So now we need to understand investing. Before understanding the investing, we need to understand the planning part of investing. We need to assess our current financial condition, like how much we can contribute each month, how much we can save each month, what are my financial goals, right? Financial goals can also be divided into long term goals, short term goals, intermediate goals, and according to that a holistic financial plan can be built. The best financial goal align with your values and personal objective, what you wanted to do. For example, after 10 years, after 5 years, you wanted to study, you wanted to go abroad, then for that you need to plan today. You need to set a financial goal, and accordingly you need to check out the funds under which you can invest. If you have a debt, you need to kill that debt. If you need to launch a business after 4 years, you need to plan for that. You want to go on vacation, you want to buy a car, bike, anything. So you need to assess your financial goals, and accordingly you need to make a budget for achieving those goals. Let's discuss investment options. What are the options available in the market? So I have bifurcated into three categories: debt, equity, and real estate. Now there is a purpose for each product you buy, and each product need to fight with other to grab that place in your portfolio. अगर आप debt ले रहे हैं तो why you are investing in debt? Why not equity? You need to answer that question. Because think of financial product like certain kind of food. अगर किसी को डायबिटीज है और वो शुगर लेगा तो ऑब्वियसली इट इज नॉट गुड फॉर हिम, राइट? सिमिलरली अगर किसी को हाइपरटेंशन है तो सॉल्ट विल बी लाइक गन पाउडर टू हिम. But अगर कोई normal person है, he will take sugar and salt, right? So that is not an issue with him. So financial products are similar. Not everything suit everybody. We need to match our financial needs to our financial products. So that's what we will understand in this lecture, that how you can build your best financial portfolio. What are the factors you need to keep in mind while building the portfolio? And each financial product has a certain time period over which it works best. So you need to identify that how risky is one thing, how safe is another thing, and accordingly we need to invest. So let's come to our first product, which is debt. So the word debt make us think of the debt that we have. Like for example, if you take a loan for purchasing a car, that is a debt. If you take a loan for purchasing a home, that is a debt, right? If there is any credit card loan or EMI is going on, that is a debt. So the core of debt is loan. For example, if you make an FD with a bank treat it as a loan and give you return, whatever may be the case. So that's the debt product. Other debt products includes corporate deposits, government deposits, and you need to identify that higher the risk and higher the returns. So that's the basic concept, that if there is higher risk, there will be higher return, right? And also without benchmarking, there cannot be any comparison of return in finance. For example, if somebody offers you a rate of interest that is much higher than a bank FD, so you need to understand that the risk of non-payment of both your investment and interest on this deal is much higher. So debt products are good for stability but not for growth. अगर आपको एक स्टेबल सोर्स ऑफ इनकम चाहिए, देन डेट प्रोडक्ट्स आर गुड. बट अगर आपको ग्रोथ चाहिए अपने इन्वेस्टमेंट के अंदर, देन आई वुड नॉट रिकमेंड डेट प्रोडक्ट. हाउ मच डेट allocation should be there in your portfolio? So there is a basic thumb rule for that, that your debt allocation should be equal to your age. If you are 30 years old, then no more than 30% of your portfolio should be in debt. And at the age of 70, no more than 70% of the portfolio should be in debt. Otherwise, rest you can invest in equity, gold, that we'll discuss later on. Now, the best way to expose your money to equity is through mutual fund, according to me. However, in today's generation, you can see there are many traders, there are many investors who are directly investing from Zerodha, Kites. There are different platforms that have begun, right? So, but you need to understand this, that there is a way to get safe equity returns. I'm not talking about risky equity returns like FNO and you are doing trading in daily basis, but I am talking about, achieving the financial goals. And for achieving the financial goals, you need to make a safe investment in equity. You need a plan for that. You need to manage your greed and fear. Equity has the potential of high growth, but is also considered a highly risky investment as compared to debt or any fixed income investment. It is not market timing, but time in the market that matters in equity. Time in the market matters because it smoothens the volatility. जब शेयर मार्केट वोलेटाइल होता है, राइट, तब आप पैसा कमा भी सकते हैं, पैसा डुबो भी सकते हैं. बट if you think about a longer period of time, for example 7 to 10 years, there will be a a sufficient amount of return. For example, you can earn around 15% return on a uh, on a yearly basis from equity very easily. But you need to have patience before investing your money in equity market. So basic rules of equity investing is, you need to understand that equity cooks over time and you need at least 7 to 10 years of patience to see returns. You understand that you will not double your money overnight, but will get a return that is between 12 to 15% a year, as I said. And mutual fund is the best option to go for equity. You can also invest in ETFs, exchange traded funds. There was a question which Aniket sent me, that at early stage of college, where students should focus from their limited pocket money, where to invest from their limited pocket money. So my answer to that is, you can go for equity investing. You can try trading also, because at that point of time you are very young and you do not have high capital to invest in the market. So if there is loss also, you can easily adjust that, right? So if you want to experiment with trading, if you want to experiment with equity market, I think that is the best time. But you need to also figure out that what is your financial condition, what are your financial goals, and how much money you can invest in trading or equity investing. So you need to have a plan for that. It's not कि पूरा का पूरा पैसा आपने शेयर मार्केट में डाल दिया, because उसमें मेजोरिटी ऑफ द केसेस में आपको लॉस ही होने वाला है if you are not knowing where you are putting your money, right? So that's the case with equity. So here are different types of equity investments. Equity shares directly through online platforms, Zerodha, Kite, etc. Investing through ETFs, exchange traded funds, equity oriented mutual funds. So these are basically three type of investment options through which you can do an equity investment. Now I come to my third section. So first we two discuss was debt, second was equity, third is real asset. Now what are real assets? Basically I have covered two things. First is gold and other is real estate. So first we'll take gold example. So ideally gold is good as a hedge against inflation, right? So this means that price of gold rises over the years so that your money does not lose purchasing power. Gold का price उतना ही बढ़ता है जितना inflation बढ़ता है on an average. Gold does not give an interest like your bank deposit. The only way you can profit from gold is when its value goes up, when you actually make profit. Otherwise इस पे कोई interest वगैरह कुछ भी नहीं है. हाँ, there is an exception कि sovereign gold bonds होते हैं जो कि गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया इशू करती है for a minimum period of 5 years. So in that you can get around 2.5% interest yearly, which is very low, but at least you are getting some money and also you are getting some capital appreciation. So you can invest in those sovereign gold bonds. But if you want to invest directly into gold, then I would not recommend to go with jewelry part, because jewelry is never an investment, right? Because given the role of gold in our families and the need of gifting gold at weddings in India, you can buy gold, but buy it sensibly. Not more than 5 to 10% of your total portfolio should go into gold, according to me. And even if you are investing, invest in pure gold, not jewelry, because jewelry loses straight away 30% in making charges when you buy gold as jewelry. So I'm not saying no to jewelry, but do not consider it as an investment. So like gold, Indian think they have a special relationship with real estate, and it's the same in India, where the emotional satisfaction of owning your own property is inherently very strong. Real estate is a sure thing in the mind of most people while investing in any financial product. So I think I understand that most of you have heard the stories around real estate की एक प्लॉट खरीदा था और उसका प्राइस 10 साल पहले खरीदा था और उसका प्राइस इतना बढ़ गया, राइट? बट यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड कि रियल एस्टेट में आप एक बार पैसा डालते हैं ना, तो ऑब्वियसली आप उसको चर्निंग नहीं करते हैं, 2 साल 3 साल में बेच नहीं देते. You need to hold that piece of land or piece of plot for around 10 to 15 years to get the return out of it, right? Immediately कोई प्राइस बढ़ता नहीं, हाँ, except there are some exceptions. I'm not saying there cannot be an exception. There can be exception. आपने जहाँ पे प्लॉट लिया वहां से कोई हाईवे निकल गया, so there are multiple exception in this area. But normally what happens is, whenever you are buying a house, you are investing in a shop or a plot, immediately there is no increase, there is not increase in price. It takes time to grow. So my personal recommendation in this sector is that you can go for one house or one property in which you will be living. But real estate is bad for investment. Why? So I have some reasons for that. First is, it is illiquid. Huge capital is required for that. Because आप ऐसा तो नहीं है कि अगर आपके पास 10 लाख का सेविंग हो गया तो आप रियल एस्टेट खरीद लेंगे. You need a capital for that, right? And also जब आप बेचने जाएंगे, it is not immediately sellable, because it is an illiquid investment. आपको buyers ढूंढने पड़ेंगे. You need to go through brokers. You need to negotiate with them. And also it will need a periodic investment for maintenance. अगर आपने कोई फ्लैट ले लिया तो आपको ईयरली मेंटेनेंस चार्जेस देना पड़ेगा, आपको टैक्सेशन जो भी एरिया का लगता है वो चार्जेस देना पड़ेगा. So it increases the cost. Along with that, the registration charges, stamp duty and all that, right? So for investment purpose, I do not consider real estate. Yes, if you are living, if this is your first home, you want to stay in the home, then it is good for investment कि आपने एक घर खरीद लिया, that is best. But for investment, I would not suggest to invest in real estate. Now comes very interesting topic, cryptocurrencies, जो कि last year तक काफी buzzing word था. There are many, I think, questions in chat, but I think I'll take all these questions at the end of the session. Please put up your question in the chat box only. I'll take all these questions at the end. So cryptocurrency last year तक काफी buzzing word था, but इस साल जब से taxation provisions आए हैं इसके अंदर, इसका hype effectively, if I can say, खत्म हो गया. Because now nobody is thinking of investing in cryptocurrencies due to taxation of 30%, straightforward. Also there are tedious deductions. Now what are cryptocurrencies? Many of you might be knowing, many of you might not be knowing. I'll just explain it in a simple language. There is a company, right, who issues its own coins without any backing of the coins. They circulate the coins in the market and the people trade the coins. I think someone has unmuted himself. Can you please mute? Okay. So investing in crypto assets is highly risky, but also potentially extremely profitable if you know trading, because anyone can move the market of cryptocurrency. You do not know who is behind purchasing the Bitcoin, purchasing the Ripple, purchasing any coin, right? So there is the market is highly volatile. Now government do not want to promote this market. The reason is, if government will start promoting cryptocurrencies, then it will create a separate economy in itself. Like cash transaction is presently created in economy. For example, what government can do maximum with the cash transaction? Government can bring demonetization to recover the cash, which is illegally rotating in the economy. Same way, it is very hard to uh, control cryptocurrencies transaction. Yes, there can be regulations that is speculated that we can control the cryptocurrency transactions, bitcoin transaction through a regulation, but with that is also very technical to understand from the government point of view. And for that, what they have done is simply they do not want to encourage the transaction in cryptos, and they put a taxation of 30%, so that people automatically do not buy it, because even there is no short chance of getting a profit from crypto. And without getting a profit, you need not want to pay a 30% taxation on the cryptocurrencies. So that is the case here. Value of 1 lakh invested in 1980s under different financial instruments. So this is the value which is if you have invested 1 lakh rupees in 1980, then in fixed deposit, then today the value would be 19.35 lakh rupees. In gold, it would be 16.10 lakh rupees. PPF 32.78 lakh rupees. And if you have invested in Sensex or any ETF, then it would be 2.3 crore rupees. So that's how you can compare that what has happened in the past and what can happen in the future. कि एफडी में कितना रिटर्न है, गोल्ड में कितना रिटर्न है, पीपीएफ में कितना रिटर्न है, सेंसेक्स में कितना रिटर्न है. दिस जस्ट फॉर एन एग्जांपल. आई एम नॉट टेलिंग यू कि आपको एफडी में ही करना चाहिए, सेंसेक्स में ही करना चाहिए. दैट डिपेंड्स अपॉन योर फाइनेंशियल गोल, योर बजटिंग, योर फाइनेंशियल कंडीशन. So let's discuss tax saving investments. So there are various investments under which you can save taxes. I would not discuss it in much detail because there are many sections, ATC, ATCCD, ATCCD1B, under which you can get a tax exemption when you're investing in these products. So Provident Fund is there, which can provide you 7.1% per annum interest rate, and it is also tax deductible under Section ATC. So up to 1,50,000, which is the maximum amount, you can get a tax deduction. Same way, NPS, National Pension Scheme, is there, which can give you around 9 to 12% return, and this is also tax deductible under a certain section, and up to 50,000 rupees, a tax deductible amount you can claim from your income tax returns. There are also equity linked saving scheme, ELSS. These are basically mutual funds, which are having a lock-in period of 3 years, and they can on an average give you a 9 to 15% return, and also deductible under Section ATC up to 1,50,000. So these are some investment. By making this investment, you can also ensure the saving of tax. Along with that, you can also ensure getting a regular return out of it. What are parameters for selecting a financial product? We have discussed all the financial products. Now, how you will select it? कि यार मेरे लिए कौन सा अच्छा है? So you need to see what is the cost, what are the returns which this particular financial product is providing. Obviously, if it is equity, you cannot guarantee, it cannot be guaranteed that this much return you will receive. But if you select a right product, then approximately and on an average, returns can be received by you around 12 to 15%. And how much time the investment I have to keep? For example, if you are investing in ELSS, then minimum 3 years you need to keep lock-in. And what are the taxes? For example, if you are invested in fixed deposits and you are earning interest out of it, then there is also taxation on the interest. So how much is the taxes? You need to also analyze that, and accordingly you need to plan an investment. If you are investing in equity, if you are investing in mutual funds, there are capital gains. So how much is the rate, short term, long term? Apart from that, on real estate also there is a capital gain. So whatever you are earning, you need to plan according to these four criteria, four parameters, and accordingly you need to take a decision that where should I keep, where should I put my investment. Now let's understand some basic concept of financial literacy. इन्वेस्टमेंट लेसन्स फ्रॉम रामायणा. सो बचपन से हम लोगों ने रामायणा देखी है. हम लोगों ने हमें पूरी स्टोरी पता है. 2-3 बार हमने लॉकडाउन के अंदर भी देख ली है कि किस तरीके से राम भगवान लंका जाते हैं, रावण पे विजय प्राप्त करते हैं. बट वी डू नॉट गेट एन इन्वेस्टमेंट लेसन्स आउट ऑफ इट. सो व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग हियर इज कि मैं वहां से कोई इन्वेस्टमेंट लेसन्स आपको दे दूं जिससे कि आपको वो एक रिलेवेंस हो जाए कि हाँ यहाँ पे ये हुआ था, यहाँ पे मुझे ये करना है, राइट. So the first investment lesson is everything that shine is not gold. So let's understand it here that if you remember the scene where there was a golden deer जो सीता जी ने देखा था और राम भगवान और लक्ष्मण भगवान को बोला था कि यू गेट मी दैट डियर, राइट. सो लक्ष्मण जी वहाँ एक कुटिया के बाहर लक्ष्मण रेखा बना के एंड देन बोथ द ब्रदर्स वेंट टू जंगल इन सर्च ऑफ दैट डियर, right. Now the deer was so attractive, right. It was looking so attractive that Sita ji could not resist, right. So the lesson here is that not to chase anything and everything that looks attractive. Today many investors are getting lured into investing in direct stocks based on hot tips. आपको भी messages आते होंगे कि buy this stock, right, this will increase, और buy these cryptos, buy these bonds, इसके अंदर इतना रिटर्न्स मिलेगा, इसके अंदर मंथली आपको 6% 7% हम लोग रिटर्न दे देंगे. बट यू नीड टू ड्रॉ योर लक्ष्मण रेखा कि आपको क्या करना है क्या नहीं करना है. आपको ऐसे प्रोडक्ट्स में लॉजिकली सोच के इन्वेस्टमेंट करना चाहिए, बिकॉज मार्केट व्हेन एफडी इज गिविंग यू 5%, हाउ कैन दिस पर्सन गिव यू अ मंथली 5% ऑफ रिटर्न, राइट. सो यू नीड टू थिंक अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट. Second is take small steps with SIP to build huge Ram Setu. So let's come to that scene where राम भगवान को लंका जाना था और बीच में एक बहुत बड़ा सी था, समुद्र था. So राम भगवान के पास पावर थी. दे जस्ट नीड टू एक ब्रह्मास्त्र चला के पूरा समुद्र का पानी सुखा सकते थे, राइट. बट व्हाट दे हैव डन इज कि उन्होंने पेशेंस रखा. उन्होंने एक सिंगल स्टोन को रख के पुल बनाया, right. The same way the lesson here is that even with the combination of tiny little things you can achieve extraordinary things. In the investing world, these small little magical things are called SIPs. SIPs basically mutual fund के अंदर आप कर सकते हैं, and that can help you reach your destination. और जो हम compounding की बात किए थे initially, that concept is basically of SIPs concept. अगर आप 5,000 रुपये आज हर महीना म्यूचुअल फंड्स के अंदर SIP करा देंगे, then the compounding will work, and you need to keep hold on for that at least for 15 to 20 years to get a exceptional return out of it. So that is the concept here. Third is don't shy away from building an army. Now Bhagwan Ram was a great warrior, yet he knew that to win against an opponent like Ravan, he needed an army. He realized that he could not do it alone. So बेसिक यहाँ पे कॉन्सेप्ट ये समझने का है कि आपको अपनी सेविंग्स या फिक्स डिपॉजिट पे ही डिपेंड नहीं रहना है. यू नीड टू क्रिएट एन आर्मी ऑफ वेल डाइवर्सिफाइड असेट क्लासेस. यू नीड टू डाइवर्सिफाई योर रिस्क. यू नीड टू इन्वेस्ट इन मल्टीपल प्रोडक्ट्स. इट्स नॉट दैट कि आप पूरा का पूरा पैसा सेविंग अकाउंट में डाल दिए, फिक्स डिपॉजिट में डाल दिए, राइट. सो यू नीड टू डाइवर्सिफाई. दैट इज द लेसन हियर. Last is if you cannot pick Sanjeevani, take the entire hill. So there was a scene under which Lakshman ji को संजीवनी बूटी की जरूरत थी, and Ram Bhagwan has sent Hanuman ji to get the संजीवनी from a mountain. So हनुमान जी को संजीवनी आइडेंटिफाई हुई नहीं और वो पूरा का पूरा माउंटेन उठा के लेके आ गए. And the lesson here is that if you do not know what is your संजीवनी in your portfolio, then आप सारे में इन्वेस्ट कर दीजिए. सारे में इन्वेस्ट कर दीजिए मतलब यू कैन इन्वेस्ट इन इंडेक्स म्यूचुअल फंड्स. इंडेक्स म्यूचुअल फंड एक ऐसी चीज है जिसके अंदर जो आपका निफ्टी होता है उसके अंदर जितने भी शेयर्स हैं उन सारे शेयर का पार्ट आपको अपने पोर्टफोलियो के अंदर मिल जाता है। तो उससे क्या होता है, रिस्क का रिडक्शन हो जाता है और आप गलत जगह या रॉन्ग स्टॉक में पैसा नहीं डालेंगे। सो दैट विल बी अ काइंड ऑफ hedge against your other financial products. So these are the basic concept which I have taken from Ramayana, and I have presented it to you in form of investment. Now one question which regularly come is, should I use a credit card or not? So I have written what are the cons, what are the pros of using the credit card. So my personal recommendation is I do not use credit card. I only use credit card where it is very necessary. For example, if you want to register for an international degree course, for example CFA, you need to pay them in credit card, an international payment, right? सो क्रेडिट कार्ड का फायदा ये है कि इट इज़ अ यूनिवर्सल एक्सेप्टेड, इट बिल्ड्स योर क्रेडिट। बट नुकसान ये है कि इट डिस्करेजेस योर सेल्फ कंट्रोल, राइट। इसका मतलब ये होगा कि आपके पास बजट नहीं है कोई चीज़ खरीदने का, एंड यू आर पोस्टपोनिंग दैट पेमेंट टू 30 days 40 days लेटर ऑन, राइट। ऑल्सो अगर एक बार आपने डिफॉल्ट कर दिया, आपका क्रेडिट रेटिंग भी खराब होता है, एंड देन इंटरेस्ट इज ऑल्सो यूज इन क्रेडिट कार्ड्स. So I would recommend, if it is utmost necessary, right? It is utmost necessary to make any international payment, then use the credit card. Otherwise, avoid it as early as soon as you can. Next question comes is, should I buy things on EMI? So the basic answer is, if you have enough cash in hand to pay for the product in one go, then you might want to pay for it in cash instead of buying it in EMI. This is because EMI के अंदर एक interest expense तो होता ही है, so it's same like loan only. So there will be a basic price और उसके ऊपर एक आपको 12 से 18% का एक personal loan जैसा वो कर देंगे. So that will be an interest component. So why you are increasing the cost of your product? If you have the money today, then pay it. और इससे आपका फाइनेंस भी इम्पैक्ट नहीं होगा, राइट। आपको वो हर 2 महीने में एक किस्त कटेगी, उसका भी टेंशन नहीं रहेगा. सो इफ एज लॉन्ग एज यू कैन अवॉइड इट, अवॉइड इट. दिस इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग्स टू अवॉइड इन योर 20s. तो फर्स्ट इज स्पेंडिंग टू मच इन पीयर प्रेशर. ये थोड़ी ज्ञान की बात है, बट यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड कि पीयर प्रेशर में आप काफ़ी सारा ऐसा खर्चा कर देते हैं विच इज़ बाद में आपको जाके रिग्रेट होता है, यार ये खर्चा मुझे नहीं करना चाहिए था, राइट। इससे अच्छा है कि पहले ही आप उसको प्लान कर लें, पहले ही आप उसको इन्वेस्ट कर लें, SIP डाल दें, म्यूचुअल फंड में डाल दें, या जहाँ पे भी आप इन्वेस्ट करना चाहते हैं, सो दैट यू विल नॉट रिग्रेट इट लेटर ऑन. Getting in trap of MLM schemes. Now in this age, 20 to 25 or 26, 27, ये काफी बड़ा टारगेट मार्केट है दिस काइंड ऑफ स्कीम्स का. MLM कंपनीज बेसिकली, इफ यू हर्ड नेम ऑफ वेस्टीज, एमवे, हर्बालाइफ, मोदी केयर, समथिंग समथिंग, ये सारी कंपनीज जो है दैट वर्क्स ऑन द मॉडल ऑफ डायरेक्ट सेलिंग टू पीपल. बेसिकली व्हाट दे डू इज, इसकी टोपी उसके सर, कि भाई आपने एक मेंबर बना दिया, देन यू नीड टू कीप ऑन एडिंग मेंबर, और उसका इस बेसिस पे आपको कमीशन मिलता रहेगा, राइट. सो डो नॉट वेस्ट टाइम ऑन दिस काइंड ऑफ कंपनीज, दिस काइंड ऑफ प्रोडक्ट्स, बिकॉज इफेक्टिवली क्या होता है कि जो टॉप लेवल के जो लोग होते हैं, जो कंपनी के साथ ऑलरेडी सबसे पहले जुड़े हुए हैं, दे विल ओनली मेक गुड बग्स. अदरवाइज उनके नीचे जो भी हैं, दे विल ऑलवेज स्ट्रगल. दे विल शो यू वेरी हाई ड्रीम्स, बट इट इज नॉट पॉसिबल टू अर्न अ गुड मनी इन MLM schemes, and you will waste your time for sure. इससे अच्छा है कि you will do some productive work, and उसके अंदर से आप जो भी अपनी कैपिटल है वो कमाइए और आप उसको इन्वेस्टमेंट कीजिए. लास्ट इज, डू नॉट इन्वेस्ट इन थिंग्स यू डू नॉट अंडरस्टैंड. तो ऐसी चीज़ों में आपको बिल्कुल इन्वेस्ट नहीं करना है जो आपको समझ नहीं आती है. किसी ने बोल दिया कि मेरे को फ्यूचर एंड ऑप्शन में इन्वेस्ट करना है, बट पहले आप उसको समझिए तो सही कि किस तरीके से, हाउ टू रीड द चार्ट्स, किस तरीके से मैं इक्विटी मार्केट को, किस तरीके से न्यूज़ के अंदर जो न्यूज़ चैनल्स के अंदर न्यूज़ आती है और उसका क्या इम्पैक्ट होता है हमारी इक्विटी मार्केट के ऊपर, वो कैसे वर्कआउट होता है, और मेरा शेयर या मेरी इंडस्ट्री जिसके अंदर मैं इन्वेस्ट करना चाहता हूँ वो कैसे इम्पैक्ट होगी उस न्यूज़ से. सो यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड ईच एंड एवरीथिंग, देन ओनली यू नीड टू इन्वेस्ट इन दोस थिंग्स. अदरवाइज फिर वो वैसे ही हो गया कि आंखें बंद करके आप इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हो, राइट. So these are the things to avoid in 20s. Now, before ending the session, I want to give a surprise to all of you guys. And it is a book which I am writing. And this is a pre-launch for that book. You can, pre-book this book by filing up the Google form which I am sending in the chat box. Just a second. So from quite some time I'm writing this book, and this is all about money. This will, this will tell you about what all are the investment, how much return you can generate from the investment, each and every investment, also the psychology of the money, how money is being earned, how money is invested, each and everything I will cover in this book. So you can pre-book it, and whenever it is getting launched, I will send you the first copy for this book. Well, thank you so much for this session, and thank you IEEE for this wonderful opportunity to give me this platform. So we are open for question and answer, if there is any.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Shubham, for this thought-provoking session. I hope we all have learned some cool concepts on investments and have got our heads up on managing finances. I would also like to thank our attendees for being interactive during the session. Before we move on to the Q&A session, uh, I think we have Aniket here, and he wanted to, yeah, he wanted to say something.
Yeah, sure.
Aniket.
I'm I'm traveling, so I'm not able to speak properly. So Shubham, thank you for accepting our invitation and being with us. So I was really looking forward to your session. So it happened, and I'm happy that you are with us today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Aniket. Okay, so we'll take some questions from the chat box.
Shall I read it for you, or
Okay, I'm reading. Divyam Gupta has asked how to start trading. So, Divyam, there are various platforms in which you can start a dummy trading also. For example, by not investing your money, you just need to, you just need to log in into their app, and you will get around 1 lakh rupees in coins, and you can start, experimenting with those coins. So there will be not any, emotional loss will be there. So you can start trading from there. Also, you need to enroll for some of the courses. You can even get many knowledgeable content from YouTube also. There are many persons who share very good explaining charts and all that videos, so you can start trading from those guys also. So if you learn, you can grow in that area also. J. Ashwin Nair, is VPF a good investment? What is VPF? I am not getting. Please, can you please write it down? Okay. Bhumija CS. Yeah, some info about opening Demat account, pros and cons of day trading. So nowadays, opening Demat account is very easy. You just need to go with Zerodha. Zerodha will ask some basic documentation, and I think a nominal fees of 300 to 500 rupees. And you just need to apply that, and they will automatically open it. Or otherwise, you can go with a bank. Go to a bank like SDFC, ICICI, or any bank near to you. You can ask them. They will just fill up a form, and you can open your Demat account and start investing. Okay, next question I'm getting is, Divyam, can you name some YouTube resources and paper trading platform? I'll share some paper trading platform. You can just DM me on my Insta. YouTube resources, you can go for Power of Trade. There is one guy who who's very good at investing, and he's very authentic also. So you can go with that. Okay, someone has suggested Stroke Grow 10 lakh dummy cash live trading. Okay, great. Okay, voluntary provident fund. Mr. J. Ashwin Nair has asked for voluntary provident fund. Yes, sir. PF के अंदर पैसा डालना is advisable, but उसके अंदर कैसा है सर, you need to keep that for a higher lock-in period, right? आपको काफी टाइम तक रखना पड़ता है. एंड सेकेंडली, इंटरेस्ट रेट आर गुड. तो अगर आप एफडी में पैसा डाल रहे हैं और आपको डाल के भूल जाना है, इट इज नॉट नीडेड इमीडिएटली, तो आप पीएफ में डाल के यू कैन फॉरगेट इट, और आपको इंटरेस्ट रेट भी वहाँ पे 7% मिलेगा। एफडी के अंदर तो आपको 4.5-5% में ही हो जाता है। सो दैट इज अ थिंग। सर व्हाट अबाउट सेविंग इंश्योरेंस प्लान? देखिए इंश्योरेंस के अंदर कैसा है ना, जो एजेंट्स होते हैं दे विल पिच यू ऑल काइंड ऑफ प्लान्स। वो आपको सबसे ज्यादा बेचेंगे ऐसे प्लान्स जिनके अंदर देयर विल बी अ बोनस कंपोनेंट, देयर विल बी सम इन्वेस्टमेंट प्लान्स इन इंश्योरेंस। सो आपको उन सब प्लान को अवॉइड करना है, बिकॉज इफेक्टिवली इन लॉन्गर रन दे विल नॉट अर्न यू गुड रिटर्न्स। दे आर द वर्स्ट प्लान्स अवेलेबल। यू ओनली नीड टू कंसिडर अ टर्म प्लान एंड अ मेडिकल प्लान, दैट्स इट। अगर वो दोनों हो गया आपका, then you need to look for other investment option. You need to go for mutual funds, you need to go for share market. So insurance के अंदर never buy a saving plan, only buy a term plan. Minimum premium आएगी, there will not be any refund of money, but insurance का मतलब ही वो है कि you need to insure for your life, right? तो उसके लिए आपको saving plan के अंदर नहीं जाना है। So I think most of the questions are answered. If there is any more question, you can ask me. Perfect. Khalid, I think most
Sir, what about the question regarding rentals about real estate?
rentals about actually I have not got this question. Can you send it again? Acha, Ridhijit Basu, how about the passive income generated through renting that can nullify the maintenance charges and can absolutely I agree with you that renting income can nullify, but I live in Ahmedabad and there are so much construction of the flats is going on that finding people for rent or finding through brokers also, it is very difficult. And it is a, if you are getting a good rent, I am staying in a society and the rent here is approximately 25,000 and new flat is around 1 cr. So you can understand that obviously it can adjust the inflation, but you need to find people for that, and for the time period which is when the flat is empty, then that cost will be there. So that is there, your point of view again. Pawan Teja Balu, unknown mistakes that we do that affect credit score. So there are some unknown mistakes and there are some mistakes which even you do not know that your credit card is being used or your credit rating is used or there is a loan against you. So you need to check your credit score at least on a quarterly basis, because today what happens is there are many applications under which you are signing and you are giving them all the authorities, and effectively you are taking a loan, and you are not knowing that you are taking a loan, right? So क्वार्टरली आप अपना क्रेडिट रेटिंग आपको पैसा बाजार .com या अगर आप ऑनलाइन कहीं से भी चेक करेंगे, क्रेड के ऊपर भी होता है, तो आपको क्रेडिट रिपोर्ट मिलता है और उसके अंदर आपको क्वार्टरली चेक करना है कि भाई मेरा क्या क्या चल रहा है, वेदर सब कुछ प्रॉपर है नहीं है, और अगर नहीं है तो यू नीड टू इन्फॉर्म टू योर बैंक्स। तो वो सब आपको करना है। अगर वो सब अगर प्रॉपरली चलता रहेगा तो आई डोंट थिंक कि देयर इज एनी वे आपका क्रेडिट स्कोर अफेक्ट होगा। इज दिस द राइट टाइम टू इन्वेस्ट इन मार्केट? तो शालिनी, आई कैन नॉट कमेंट ऑन दिस बिकॉज मार्केट का किसी को होता नहीं है कि भाई कहाँ जाएगा, बट यस अभी मार्केट डाउन है, यू कैन इन्वेस्ट, यू कैन गो विथ म्यूचुअल फंड्स बिकॉज एवरेज आउट करके ऑन द लॉन्गर टर्म द वॉलेटिलिटी विल सेटल डाउन, और एवरेज आउट करके आपको रिटर्न्स उसमें अराउंड 10 to 15% मिल जाएंगे। Okay, Gopa Deepak has asked, can you tell how can we manage the startup idea when we don't have any money in our hand? Okay, so I had a session yesterday in the KCT College, Tamil Nadu on startup only. So देखिए, startup अगर आपके पास idea है, so what happens in Gujarat is अहमदाबाद के अंदर state governments are very proactive in terms of providing incubation and providing initial funds for the startup. So here we have iHub, here we have GUSEC, जिनके अंदर की if you present your idea, you can get an initial fund of around 3 lakh rupees, and if the idea is workable, then they provide you around 8 to 10 lakh rupees if you have made MVP, that is minimum viable product. And if you want to go into market and expand yourself, then they provide around 40 to 50 lakh rupees. So I'm sure that wherever you are staying, there might be some local groups where you can present your idea, and you can get an initial funding to just create a MVP or a product market fit, and after that you can go for raising higher money. If everything prototype is ready, then you can go for raising higher money from the investors. So that's how it works. Okay. Sheikh Gushul Vesh Karni has asked how to be financially disciplined. I mean, stopping the urge to order food online. This is very funny question. Uh, what I can say is focus on your health, because if you will focus on your health, you will not order food from any restaurant or something. You will try to cook it at home, or you will keep a cook to cook it, because बाहर का खाना जो है वो काफी in terms of calories and all इतना अच्छा नहीं होता. So you need to be financially disciplined and focus on your health, and count your calories, how much you are taking in a substance in daily basis. So I think we are done with question answer round.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Shubham, for answering those questions.
And also, if there are any other questions, you can always, text me on LinkedIn or Instagram. I have given you the handles. The Professional Talk and CA Shubham MALOO are my handles. So you can just text me there, and I will connect. I will reply for sure there.
Yeah, that would be great. So I would like to conclude this session with a quote of Warren Buffett, where he said, "Never depend on single income. Make investment to create a second source." And I think Mr. Shubham has beautifully defined this quote in a short time. I think we need to start somewhere, and this session has provided a good direction. So on behalf of IEEE India Council Student Coordination Team and the Executive Committee, we are thankful to Mr. Shubham for his time and effective guidance. Also, I would like to thank the attendees for being interactive and giving some of their time from the Saturday evening plans. I hope we were able to meet your expectations. We will be sharing the feedback form. Please do fill it. And to inform you all, you can find this session on YouTube as well. Thanks again. Have a great Saturday evening. And thank you, Mr. Shubham.
Thank you, Khalid. Thank you, everyone.